Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Green Arrow FPL podcast from Fantasy Football Hub as we come out of Game Week 14 and look ahead to Game Week 15. My name is Fergi, and I'm joined, as usual, today by my co-host, the brilliant Rich Clarke. Rich, how are you? And what colour were your arrows in Game Week 13 and so far in Game Week 14?
Well, the Game Week 13 free hit was brilliant for me, like it was for a lot of fantasy managers. It was an excellent week to play the free hit, despite a number of opposing views out there that suggested to the contrary. Went really well, 73 points, which was enough after Game Week 13 to rocket me up into the top 25k.
Jeez, Rich.
From
Ridiculous.
135. So yeah, huge rank rise based on
the
back of that. It didn't go completely perfectly. I mean, there was a Brentford conceded goal. There was a haul from Bruno Fernandes in the team I left behind. You know, quite a few free hits who had Bruno on them, which we criticised, but worked out for them. But apart from that, you know, all four teams that were stacked won their games. So City,
nice.
Brentford, Villa, and Liverpool even turned up with a 2-0 win. And I think, I'm not sure if you went, I mean, Salah was benched for the first time in about 2 years. But Gakpo, who was on my free hit, did come through. And I think really that's the difference between my score and your score, was the Gakpo move, because I'm not sure you went for Gakpo, did you? So we'll talk about yours in a minute. But yeah, this week it is going okay. 64 so far, with Bruno Fernandes left to play tonight. So I don't have him captained, but we'll talk about the jeopardy around Bruno's availability in a little bit. But yeah, it's going okay, and I'm really happy with the rank. I've slipped back to about 35k on live
nightmare,
rank,
mate.
but yeah, not too bad. Not too bad yet.
Well done, sir, and well played. And yeah, we've got the spaffometer up, Rich, for your, what was it, 73 points, and you what's the opposite of quad of so if you halve your rank, what would you say? You didn't quadruple your rank.
My rank was, yeah,
what's the word? We'll have to think
of what
that.
it was.
A fifth.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely incredible, mate. You've definitely got smashed it for that. I think absolutely superb stuff. Yeah, played it just at the right time, and as you say, that Gakpo, Foden, Thiago, they were the 3, weren't they, really? And there was a couple of other players like Dango who did really well. We went for Sharda, I think, but
I mean, the Villa clean sheet was, you know, under the radar, but you know, fairly nice, and that came in as well. So yeah, that was nice overall. Yeah, really, really happy with it. And obviously at the moment, and in this week, you know, this week's all about, did you captain Haaland or did you captain Bruno Fernandes? And, you know, to be fair to the Bruno Fernandes captainers, he hasn't played yet, and we haven't had the game. So the game's not over this
14
week. Points. Well,
he's not going to get 14 points. He's going to get 4. He's going to get 4, and all the Bruno counters. There he is. He got DEFCON. He got DEFCON. Look at me, 9 million.
Roots to points.
Roots to points. Bollocks. Oh, sorry, I said roots to points narrative. I should say, but no, I'm joking. You know, he's a really good pick, and I'm a non-Bruno owner this evening, and I'm quite scared. But yeah, I'm sure there's quite a lot of Bruno captains, particularly on the analytics side, Rich, by the look of it. And quite a lot of them, or probably most of them, have probably got Haaland as vice as well. So we're going to see some big swings this evening. Either way, I think it's going to be super interesting. I free hit also in Game Week 13. It didn't do as well as you say. The Gakpo one was the one really which did for me. I went for Doku. Instead, I went for a triple up in attack for City, and I feel a bit disappointed. Only that, you know, obviously Doku did really well the other night. He played, you know, superb against Fulham away. City looked well for the first hour anyway, much more like themselves in terms of attack, and that's where most of the points were for Haaland as well. Obviously, I went for double Villa defense, which worked out really well, even though I thought it was quite actually fortunate because Wolves looked good. They had a goal disallowed and probably should have scored, really. Disappointing for me, again, I had Nico Williams as my for Salah off the bench. He kept a clean sheet last night and played really well and got bonus. But he only managed a 1-pointer on the weekend, which was disappointing. Sod's law. So not as good as yours, 57, but my rank did go from 1.7 million to 1.1. So
yeah, it's not too bad.
It's hard to call it. I don't know if it's a smashed it or not, because I think I did score probably 20 more points than my original team. But then on the same note, I've seen most of the scores going into 60s and 70s and even 80s. So
yeah,
I'm not sure. Let us know in the chat what you think.
I
think
do you
in
think?
the context,
I think it's probably a meh. But I think it's a meh. But it's maybe it depends how hard we want to be for the rest of the season. If we set a very high bar, we won't have many smashed it.
Well, this is it. So yeah, I think I personally, I'd like to argue. I'd like to argue with the context of my own team, not against looking against yours or looking against others in the FPL community. I nearly halved my rank. It was the right time to play it, so it'd be interesting to see what the chat thinks on that one, because I would like to debate a smashed it. It's on the border, like yours is firmly right in the middle of that green cell there. Yeah. Mine is probably up to the left of it, kind of a half inch over from there, but I'm not really sure. But let us know what you think in the chat. And while we're on the matter of that, Rich, and challenging, I would also potentially like to challenge my wildcard May for game week 10. Now I do have it. So we said at the time, it's very hard in the game after one game week to say whether the wildcard was kind of spaffed or not in 1 week. Since game week 10, I've gone from 2.7 million and now I'm 1 million. So if I hadn't played the wildcard, it'd be absolutely disastrous. So again, I think we put a meh because my actual wildcard, so I only got a smallish green arrow from like 2.7 to 2.4 mil. So that 1 week wasn't great. But again, if I hadn't have done it, I wouldn't be where I am now, because it's a butterfly effect of the way you play, the transfers you make, playing the chip. And I'm sat now at 1 million, 2 free transfers into game week 15, which I think is reasonable. It's not high flying at all. I'm not for 1 minute saying I'm having a great season, but again, you're not out. See what you think.
You're not out of it, are you?
No.
We've now got a flurry of games before Christmas, a flurry of game weeks, and you can get yourself into the top 500k and be ready to take on the second half of the season, can't you? So I think you've good couple of weeks. Got any chips left? Or are you all done?
I'm all done for the first half now. But I'm fine with that. I've got 2 free transfers this week. I'm making 2 solid forward-thinking transfers this week as well. I'm not firefighting, and obviously we've got AFCON next week. But yeah, and looking at my team for this week, I've got a small red. I've got 65. I've got 1 more point than you, but it's my Mbuemo against your Bruno tonight, mate, which could be very, very interesting, particularly because Bruno potentially rumoured to, I don't know, nursing a knock or whatever, whatever sort of cliche you want to say. Have you heard any more about that, Rich?
I've just heard so many different views in the last 24 hours on social media of who these supposedly doubtful Man United assets are. Lots of pictures of Bruno in hotel rooms, dressed in his training kit, chatting with mates, walking around perfectly. He's not in a ski boot on his sofa this time. And he got up and played that time. So I think he'll make it, right? The reason we own Bruno is indestructible, right? So there is a chance. I mean, the worst outcome probably for everybody is that he's benched and that he comes on for a cameo and hardly gets any points for his owners, and therefore the vice captain doesn't kick in. But I don't think anybody will want him bench on either camp. So hopefully he plays and he does well, 4 points, but not too well.
He's going to get 4, and Mbuemo's going to get 14. I'm calling it.
I think Mbuemo's due. I mean, Mbuemo, I didn't go for Mbuemo. He's done 1.1 point. He's got to come in with a stack before he goes to AFCON, hasn't he, really?
This is the week. Good stuff. Welcome everyone in the chat. FPL Gaza is in free hit active this week. Triple City, triple Newcastle, triple Man U, and triple Brighton. Wow. Got 12 players playing, but he has got an overall rank of 237k. Very, very well played. Just a dad posting stuff. It's on a small green, but he is at 17k. Goodness me. Tom Minter says, hoping that Bruno doesn't play, so Haaland will be captain. Ross Johnson, App UK is in. Clear FPL is on a small green arrow with Mbuemo left to play. FPL SWAT Duncan needs a Bruno Hall tonight to hopefully get into the top 5k. Graham Miller,
he's top of the community league, is Duncan. Yeah, doing
really,
very well.
really well done. Our Hamer 84 is in. Nigel Johnson as well. FPL Freddie says, I'm only on 45 points. Tough week, Freddie. He's dropped from 1.6 million to 2.5 this week. Justin Phillips, Easy Paul, Info, Suge, and James Thompson. What do we do with Liverpool? Is the end nigh for Salah? Apparently, no, it can't be, because when I said that a few weeks ago, I got absolute pelters all over the comments and all over social media. You're not allowed to say that, James, apparently. So, but yeah. Have you had a bad start in FPL? If you have, help is at hand. Come and join over 400,000 managers taking advantage of weekly transfer recommendations powered by AI specifically for your team by clicking the top link in the description and joining FFH. Unsurprisingly, players like Rich, all our contributors, lots and lots of our members are absolutely flying at the moment. Remember, it's not a sprint; it is a marathon, and just playing sensibly, taking up all the recommendations each week, playing good FPL. As everyone is now, people are absolutely flying. It's great to see some of the managers, like yourself, Rich, and Bakar, and loads of the people who got off to pretty rough starts, absolutely flying now. Stick it to them, Rich. Love it. Good stuff. Let's have a look at the lie of the land for the next few game weeks. We've got the next 5 game weeks up. Newcastle, top of the ticker, playing really well. They were probably a bit unlucky again. As a Spurs fan, it's totally and absolutely got away with it. This week, Newcastle pulverized Spurs, and somehow it finished 2-2 with a Christian Romero masterclass.
Well, Christian Romero turned into Cristiano Ronaldo, didn't he? Basically,
what a player. They're home to Burnley this week. Burnley are really, really struggling. I don't think, is it Burnley haven't scored on their no. Oh no, it's Wolves. Wolves haven't scored in the last 5. I don't think Burnley have won in the last 5 or something. So you can probably expect Newcastle win there. Then away to Sunderland, who are still playing really well. Chelsea, United, and Burnley. I think it's the Burnley twice in that run actually, which probably puts Newcastle up the top there. Liverpool's fixtures continue to be good, but they continue to flatter. Well, they don't even flatter, do they? To deceive. They're just not great at the moment. And they're away to Leeds on Saturday. And
buoyant
Leeds, mate. I fancy Leeds win. I got to be honest. And then they got Brighton, who are playing really well. Spurs, which could be anything, and then they fall into 2 nice home games. Wolves, and then home to Leeds will be different than away to Leeds, I think. So. Yeah. Man City, home to Sunderland on the weekend. The Phil Foden show, absolutely sensational form at the moment. And they're home to West Ham in game week 16. United's fixtures are good as well. They're away to Wolves in 15, home to Bournemouth. Very struggling Bournemouth, Rich. I don't know. They just seem to have completely fallen off both in attack and defence at the moment. And then they've got Villa in 17. Villa have actually looked really, really good of late. I think, are they 3rd in the table now, Villa?
They are,
absolutely flying. And down the bottom, Villa are bottom of the ticker. So even though they're on form, their fixtures do toughen up. They've got Arsenal at home in 15. They've got United in 17, Chelsea in 18, and Arsenal again in 19. That's a tough run of fixtures for Villa. Wolves, Leeds, Spurs down the bottom. So, but it's very interesting in terms of FPL, because there's so much going on. We'll touch on that next. But Rich, firstly, just in terms of fixtures, what are your thoughts for the coming couple of weeks?
You've summarised it very well. But if you just look at the top 5 in that table there, these are the massive clubs, right? That have all got the best 5 sets of fixtures, coming up. Newcastle, City, United, Liverpool, Arsenal. They probably arguably are the biggest clubs in the country. They may not be, all in the Champions League at the moment, but most of them are. Their form may not all be absolutely banging. But if you just look at these fixtures, the time is ripe for a free hit or a wild card if you've got it left, or playing a chip over the next few weeks, because there's people with all types of chips out there. People with triple captains to play. We'll see some of those deployed this week. Lots of these teams take on the promoted clubs, often at home. They take on West Ham, they take on Wolves. And what you'll notice is that for those that hadn't picked it up, is that the game week 15 fixtures, the reverse fixtures, are played in game week 19. So you get 2 bites at the cherry against these minnow type teams. So Burnley play Newcastle twice in 5 weeks. Sunderland play City twice in 5 weeks. Wolves play United twice in 5 weeks, and Liverpool play Leeds twice in 5 weeks. So that is an amazing opportunity to, load up on players you keep them for 5 weeks. They're going to reward you with 2 great fixtures, and there's nice fixtures in the middle as well. So really nice swing at this stage. I think I'm going to use my wild card very soon. I haven't really looked at it for this week, mainly just because of the logistics and the amount of time I've got to do a wild card for the long period. The game week hasn't even finished. We've only got a day tomorrow.
That's right.
But we'll have a look at a wild card draft later. It's not a bad week to play it. We heard FPL Gaza say he's on a free hit, and he just mentioned those 3 or 4 teams he's got to stack on. You put a wild card out this week, it's going to look pretty impressive. But equally, the other thing that's happening, of course, that we'll come on to it in a minute, we haven't really talked about, is we're all getting 5 free transfers on Saturday morning. So even if you haven't used your wild
first
card
time
yet,
in FPL history, isn't it? I think
that's
first
right.
time ever in FPL, Rich. Crazy.
Yeah, that's right. So Santa's going to deliver something like 60 to 65 million transfers onto the market on Saturday morning.
Love that, mate. Love it.
And they can all theoretically be spent next week. So the markets are going to already very busy, but they're going to go into absolute meltdown next week. So God knows what that's going to do to Phil Foden's price. He'll probably be 10 million by the end of next week, knowing what's going on. So crazy times, but a really exciting time to shake up the template a bit, because it has been a bit samey, hasn't it, with teams looking similar over recent weeks. And I think we'll see a lot of people playing their final chips in the next fortnight.
Yeah, good stuff. And I suppose what that means for FPL. So Scott has very helpfully put on a schedule, which is up there on the right hand side, and the key sort of things to think about just for everyone who isn't quite aware. But as Rich mentioned, ahead of game week 16, we get topped up to 5 free transfers. Just to remind anyone who's not kind of hyper engaged. Use all your transfers up, any remaining transfers up this week, because it doesn't matter how many you've got now, it will be capped and sort of capped at 5. So I've got 2. I'll be using the 2 absolutely regardless of anything, because if you don't use them, you burn them. AFCON is then on, so the African nations from game week 16 to 19 as a minimum. And the final is between game week 22 and 23. So there is the potential for some players to miss a lot of game weeks, up to 6 or 7 game weeks potentially. And some of the key players, Njai, Salah, and Mbeumo, Ahmad, Dango, Sarr as well. West Ham lose Wan-Bissaka and Diouf, so fullbacks. City lose 8 Norrie and Marmoush, and Sunderland lose 9 players. So we've just talked about how good Sunderland have been, but on that reverse game where they play, is it Man City in game week 19, I want to say.
They'll be
they're not going to have a team. So that's going to be super interesting. It gives opportunities as well for other players. So O'Reilly, who's obviously super popular, playing really well. He's going to be, you'd think absolutely nailed. Well, he's nailed anyway, but with 8 Norrie out, maybe even more so. For the City attack with Marmoush out, it probably nails Doku and Foden that even more in this period. I'm sure that they'll all be rotated because there's so many games in such a short period of time. It'd be interesting to see how United react and change things up without Mbeumo and Ahmad, who have been sort of regulars in the team there. And Jai for Everton, he's had a fantastic season, hasn't he? But Everton have really got really built a good team. And Salah, as as we know, we thought they brought in in the summer Frimpong, but he's out injured, and judging how the last couple of games have gone, Salah won't have been an option anyway at the moment. So lots and lots to think about, Rich, over these coming games. We were just looking at actually of when we of when we're going to pod, because we do kind of struggle sometimes over the Christmas period. And normally, I'm pretty sure that the FA Cup weekend is the weekend normally just after New Year. You kind of have, you have the 3 games over Christmas period, and then there's like an FA Cup weekend, which gives us a bit of a break in terms of FPL. But it looks like there's a midweek game week this time around, so they put an extra game week in, and then it's the FA Cup after. So it's absolutely just slammed with fixtures. It's going to be a crazy period. Jordan Bolton has just put in a super chat, says, happy with my team and managed to find myself with 5 free transfers to burn this week. What a time to be alive.
So it's going to have 10 transfers in 2 weeks.
We're all trying to be alive, Jordan. Fantastic. Yeah. But thanks for the super chat. We really appreciate that. So yeah, Rich, I suppose just kind of looking at all these things in terms of I suppose in terms of the kind of players. I know it's difficult to look past game week 16, which is kind of, we're looking at 15, 16 now. Looking at 17, 18 onwards, what are you thinking? Because obviously it looks like you're wild card in 16. What are you thinking in terms of your strategy then for the next, few weeks?
I think I'm happy with the rank, so I don't need to chase it or do anything silly. So I will wild card while everyone else is, using their AFCON transfer. So I'm not expecting the wild card to put me at that high an advantage, because if people are going to use 3 or 4 transfers next week to sort their teams out, they'll get rid of all the problems. They'll have, double Arsenal defence again for Wolves at home. Yeah. They'll have O'Reilly. They'll have Foden. So all of these players, most of them are not in my team at the moment. None of those are. I don't have any Arsenal defenders, and I don't have O'Reilly, and I don't have Foden. So that's enough use of a wild card, absolutely, straight away. But I expect that to be matched by those not playing a wild card. What will happen for me is, obviously I'll have a transfer bank in game week 17 of 5 that I can then use to steadily work through the Christmas fixtures and deal with any fires that arise, and hopefully carry 2 or 3 transfers into January where I can keep being in that in that comfortable position. So I'm quite happy to do that. I just think the advantage will be a little bit like your wild card. It might take a while before it's obvious that it's an advantage. So I'm happy with it. I can't really see any point. There's a bit of advice out there to say, I will save your wild card till game week 19. And I don't want to be wild carding on Boxing Day. To be honest,
mate. No, you can turkey chips and Branston, and you got your wild card active.
I don't want to be doing that.
Mate.
No,
you're watching Gavin and Stacey instead, don't you?
There's only one game. There's only one game. So no, I mean, I think I'll play it in 16, and because of the markets, one thing I have with my team is my team value is not very good. Having not wild carded yet, it has suffered for team value. I'm not one who chases 0.1s very often, so I've got quite a low team value. So hopefully, with the markets in meltdown, I can make a few quid next week on the bed and breakfasting players and come out with something good next weekend. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And probably the difficulty will be actually spending transfers in 17, 18 and 19, as you've got to keep burning 1 per week, haven't you? So
that's it. Let's have a look at transfer targets for this week, and a couple of unfamiliar faces, probably fair to say. Normally there's a sea of red and white or whatever, but it's not often we get a couple of Newcastle players, a Brighton player and a Fulham player. But Phil Foden, firstly, smack in the middle. I mean, talk about form. He is absolutely sensational form.
This could be the biggest bandwagon of the season this week. A lot of very wise FPL managers downgraded Ismail Assar to Elliot Anderson last week. It was a fairly low-key transfer for a DEFCON man.
Low-key? Yeah. Jeez. But, that's an understatement.
Exactly, yeah. Well, there you are. But it has given them the money now to easily upgrade a Semenyo or another midfield 7 million type asset up to Foden, who's rocketing in price. He was 8 8 million on Sunday evening. He'll be 8.3 by tomorrow morning. So he'll have maxed out on his rises almost. And yeah, he's going to keep rising. So if you can get to Foden this week, he's the obvious move. However, you wouldn't put it past Pep to bench him ahead of Real Madrid, would you? They're playing Real Madrid midweek next week, so you might wrap him in cotton wool for that game and put him on the bench. I think he'll play. I think he's back to the electric form he was in a couple of seasons ago, isn't he? So a great buy, and I wish he was in my team, but I can't get to him. So I'm going to have to think of something else. So we'll go to the second row here, where I like these Newcastle assets. If you want a 1 week punt before wildcarding, or if you just want a Newcastle asset because they're top of the fixture ticker, then Bruno Guimaraes, he was rested for the first half of the midweek fixture against Tottenham, came on the second half and scored a cracking goal. He's had his rest, so he's a nice safe pick for the weekend. And I've got an issue in my midfield that we'll talk about later, and highly likely to look at Bruno as my transfer for this week. If you want to get rid of Mateta, and many people are starting to tire of Mateta, he's getting subbed at 60 minutes pretty much every week for Nketiah, and Palace's fixtures, they don't let up. We mentioned that last week. They've still got about 12 of their 14 games to play before January the 7th. If you want to get rid of Mateta, Voltemada is cheaper than him, and again available for that Burnley fixture. So I really like Newcastle this week. I like the way they're playing, and I think you can go really well. Now, if you need money for Foden and you're like Fergi and you've got a couple of transfers, I put a couple of enabling defenders in here who have excellent fixtures. You'll see that Van Hecker of Brighton scored twice, I think it was, last night against Villa. He's 4.4 million, unless he's gone up in price overnight. An absolute steal. And if you're looking for that extra few quid to get to Foden, he looks great for this week. When Brighton, I think, are playing West Ham, is it, at home this week? What a great fixture!
Yeah, it is.
What a fantastic fixture that is. I mean, these are short term. I wouldn't necessarily have Van Hecker on a wild card, but if it enables you to get to a Foden or get to the pick of your choice for game week 16, then I really like that. And then someone who's been in my team all season, who's currently second in the DEFCON table, is Joachim Anderson of Fulham. If you could just look at, just remind me of Fulham's fixtures while my other laptop is refreshed.
Okay, mate. They're home to Palace, away to Burnley, home to Forest, away to West Ham, away to Palace. So they got Palace in 15, which is a toughie, but 16, 17, and 18, they are as good as they get. Away to Burnley, home to Forest, away to West Ham. So yeah, really, really nice and run.
Really
He's been fantastic for you this season, haven't he, Anderson? I've been very, very envious, and the only time I wasn't envious was this week, obviously, when they played Man City. But other than that, he's been sensational. He's been knocking 8-pointers, 10-pointers all season, haven't he?
They've got through their tough run of games, and now they've got 3 very playable fixtures. He almost always gets DEFCON. Even when they lost 5-4 at home to City, he got 9 DEFCONs. I was counting them. It was an amazing game, but I was counting his DEFCONs. How sad is that at the end of the game? And he almost got to 10, even in a 5-4 defeat. So great player, and he hasn't risen in price all season. So again, those two really are in there as enablers. What do you think of those guys?
Yeah, I really like them. I think Bruno has gone under the radar a touch for Newcastle. He seems to be playing a lot further forward than he has in previous season. But it's just nice. It's just nice to see a bit of a refresh of the teams. And I think this period now of these next 2 weeks are going to be super interesting and really diverse in the way that teams are going to go. Obviously, Foden, as you said, absolutely, a bandwagon. I completely agree there. I have got a punt this week who I'm really excited about. He does play for one of these teams. I'm not going to mention him yet, but I might bring him in, Rich. I think I might bring him in for he's the ultimate punt, I think.
Right.
But we'll talk a little bit later on. We'll see if anyone in the chat can guess. It's very, very. I don't like speaking myself in the third term, but it's a very Fergie type of punt. We'll see if we can get it. But no, really good. And Newcastle have, look really good. and it looks like Visser's not going to be in for a while, so Voltamada is safe. Looks like Gordon is back from injury. Lewis Hall, I would add in if he can get back to his form of a season or two ago. He had 3 assists in one game last. I think it started last year, the year before. He looks really good option as well. I would say Lewis Hall, assuming I think he's got his place nailed now. Speaking to Scott just before we started, and he thinks he'll play like 3 of the next 4. Yeah, interesting stuff there. But yeah, I agree with all them, mate, and they're all on my radar for the coming weeks, along with another 1 or 2 as well. Thank goodness we got five transfers
coming in on Saturday
yeah,
morning. Well, I hope it all works. I hope the 5 transfers come in pretty quickly. Because imagine if you wildcarded before those transfers came in, and then you came back to your team after game week 16 and it had a transfer bank of 0. You know, we're trusting the technology here, not to wipe those transfers out, aren't we?
Trusting the technology, brilliant.
Yeah.
We've had a few guesses in the chat of my punt, and no one is close yet, which is good. We've had shouts for Gordon, Gomez, Jacob Murphy. Gomez is not a bad shout. I think Gomez is a good shout. Jacob Murphy as well. Is he your countryman? No, he isn't. So no one's anywhere near yet, which is interesting. Let's have a look at predicted points for the coming few weeks. Haaland so far out in front. It's absolutely ridiculous now. 34 points. Wow. He is 10 points clear of the next best, which is Foden, who was shot
to the top of the league of table behind him.
Yeah. Saka is also on 24. Bruno 22. But look at this. O'Reilly is also up there, tucked in between Fernandes and Semenyo, which is incredible, really. 22 as well. Semenyo 22. Cunha, assuming he's fit, 21. Raul, you mentioned Fulham's fixtures. Raul looks good. Rice, Soboslai, I've got my eye on Thiago from next week, mate. I think he's definitely coming into my team next. I'm going to have a bit of a shuffle around with funds somewhere along the line. But Mateta, Gakpo, Kanate, some interesting ones there. Again, some interesting guesses in the chat. Harvey Barnes, Romero, Cherky, Harry Wilson, Lewis Miley. Do you know what? My son Rich had Lewis Miley's 15 pointer on the bench last week, which I was like, how the hell have you ended up with Lewis Miley? But yeah, so they're the predicted points. Let's have a look at the best free hit team for this week, which may help us. As you mentioned, Rich, there's some people who are 1 week punts here. I mean, look at this team. It's pretty exciting, actually. I'd love to be on free hit this week because it's so anti-template. Yeah. But Allison in goals with Verbruggen. Then it's O'Reilly, Malik Chiao. I cannot pronounce his name for the life of me. And Christian Romero, absolutely on fire. That man. Foden, Bruno, Mbuemo, and Semenyo. I can't get on board with Semenyo, I'm afraid.
Semenyo still makes it into the free hit.
Yeah, he's home to Chelsea. Well, after Leeds battered them last night.
Well, maybe, but yeah, they've dipped, haven't they? Bournemouth.
They have definitely.
They're not there.
And Haaland, Voltamada home to Burnley, which I like, and Raul Jimenez home to Palace. But a very different looking team there for free hit. But it's nice to see some Newcastle players in these teams.
Yeah, I think if you put Bruno G in for Semenyo, you've got a cracking team, haven't you?
we have indeed. And looking
which 3 Newcastle FPL Gaza's got in the chat.
Yeah, let us know FPL Gaza who the best 3 options are moving forward for you. Looking at the wildcard team for Verbruggen and Dubravka, we've mentioned Brighton's really good form, really good fixtures. They fit in the league. Brighton absolutely flying. Even though they lost last night, so maybe they're not fit anymore. O'Reilly, Chiao, and Anderson. That is a very different looking defense, but we've mentioned all of them so far. They've all got fabulous fixtures. Rodon and Estev, a midfielder, Foden, Bruno, and Mbuemo. So even though Mbuemo is off to off to AFCON in 2 weeks, these 2 fixtures, away to Wolves and home to Bournemouth, which I'm finding hard to argue with. Really, they look really, really good fixtures. And then Saka and Semenyo still makes it. We're going to have a look at that one, I think. FPL Gaza just said he's got Hall, Gordon, and Voltamada on free hit. Game week 15 at the moment. Interesting. And then Haaland and Thiago. Thiago is definitely coming into my team from next week, I think.
Yeah, it's a nice wild card. I mean,
yeah.
Question: has the Hub AI taken into account that everyone gets 5 transfers next week?
Yes, it has.
It has. Okay,
yeah, it has.
All right. So that's why it's put Buemo in there, isn't it? Because
yes,
it's just allowed you a cheap move to get rid of him after the fixture.
It is.
Yeah,
it is
nice team. That is a nice team. I mean, you can plug that in now. You can get the City Sunderland fixture. You can get the Newcastle Burnley fixture. I would be tempted to have at least two Newcastle assets in for that. But yeah, I like it. I mean, I might have a look at it tonight and just see if the upside is better to do it this week.
I think there's a lot of upside there, mate, because I think our teams. We'll look at our teams in a little bit, but I'm not excited this week. I think this week is going to be just a sort of hold rank. If you hold rank, it's going to be nice. So
yeah,
maybe it may be an advantage to wildcard this week and try and if you can get 20, 30 points on people. You're going into 16, Rich, with 5 free transfers, already set up really nicely. Because all the teams we're talking about here, City, Newcastle, United, it's exciting, mate. It's worth a peek. I can't believe we're going to chat Rich into going wild card in a game week early. That would be the ultimate. We've just had a comment that of James. Finally, the AI drops Salah. That really does mean the end is nigh. The Egyptian king is dethroned. If we can get Rich to wild card a game week early, I mean, what a double whammy that
Stranger
is.
Things.
Superb. Some really good guesses still on who my punt is. Apart from Manchester, says Barry Venison. No, it's not that bad, but it is it is dodgy. So Fergi is a punt for game week 15, and I'm trying to think if this guy was in my game week 1 team.
I think he was in your game week 1 team, and I think
he was
very. If the audience will remember, you played a very aggressive bench boost, didn't you, in game week 1?
I did, and he didn't. He didn't score very well in game week 1. I think I whipped him out quite soon after, but he was in my team for game week 1. He's made 12 appearances this year. He's got 2 goals. He's had 6 shots, 5 on target, 4 shots in the box. But he's a defender. He's a defender in this game at the moment. And he's got West Ham at home in game week 15, Sunderland at home in game week 19. He's been deputising at the moment, but he's basically a defender who has been playing as a left winger for the last 2 games. He's also on some corners. And his stats, I was just having a look actually at his stats for the last 2 games he's been playing in this position. So this is a fullback, and his XG over the last 2 games since he's been playing, 0.45 and 0.14. And his XA, 0.93 and 0.08. And he's cheap, and I'm not saying he's going to be in for a long time, but if he gets these next 3, because Mitoma is injured, then Maxim de Kuiper, I think, is the ultimate punt for game week 15 at home to West Ham. And I've also got Minte as well. So do you know what, Rich? I really fancy having a bit of Minte, having the right winger and the left winger, especially because he's a defender as well. And his minutes have been good.
Why don't you see how bad West Ham are this evening? And they're
playing this evening, aren't they? Yeah, they're going to be knackered as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's played 84 and 90 as well, so it's not like so while Mitoma, this is dependent on Mitoma still being injured. I would say, but at the moment he's flagged and he's nowhere near it. So I think I fancy him, and I may even go for him, Rich. Because we got the AFCON transfers. I just think what a imagine that comes in. Imagine Brighton going batter West Ham, say 3-0 or 4-1 or something, and I've got both. I've got 2 of the front 3. So we'll see how this evening goes. Could be exciting.
Interesting.
But it's nice to have a nice punt as well. No one's talking about him, and he could go massively under the radar. Rich against the machine. for game week
Yeah,
15. You go for it.
similar kind of game, but I have to scour the Hub expected points tables for something that looks particularly attractive. So I normally try and pounce on a little bit of a glitch in the matrix or something like that to find some value. I haven't been doing too well. I can't even remember who I went for last week. Could Scott remind me or something who I went for? But I don't actually know who I picked and how well it did. Oh, I went Matty Cash. Okay, excellent. There we are. Wonderful. There we are. So that's fine. Happy with that. I think that makes it 7-4. So I'm still quite a long way behind the machine, but looking to claw back the deficit. And this week, I've gone for someone who's only predicted to score 3.3 protected points by the Hub algorithm. That's probably due to his expected minutes, which have been up and down of late. He's on penalties. In fact, he scored a penalty yesterday or Tuesday night, perhaps. And that player is playing Burnley at home this weekend.
Bosh.
And it's one of your old punts. It's Anthony Gordon.
Nice, mate. I really like it. And the reason he's low, I was just looking at his minutes. His minutes are on 54 because he'll probably play, but he's obviously sharing minutes at the moment, isn't he?
With Barnes and Murphy. Yeah,
there's a couple of
others.
But I think he's good. I think he's a really good punt. I think if he starts, he's on penalties. I think, and he's still as well. So really like
some of these picks that I make with the Rich Against the Machine. They are slightly more at risk of starting because I'm looking for value in those expected points tables, and when you've got a lot of rotation going on, particularly a week like this, players that rotated on Wednesday are much more likely to play this weekend if they've had their rest. So that's just my logic. That it may be completely wrong and he's on the bench again, but if he's on pens when he's on the field, he's got a good chance of beating 3.3 points, I would say.
Like it, mate. Very good stuff, and a very, very good punt indeed. A couple of excited. Like I say, it feels like a fun week this week and next week. It's not all about going for the same players everyone else got. Maybe Foden, right? But other than that, I think it's pretty exciting. Looking at the best captain now for game week 15. I mean, there's not much of a conversation here, really, is there? Haaland is going to be by far. He's going to have ridiculous EO. Really good fixture. Foden just behind him, and O'Reilly. The top three predicted for game week 15 are all Man City players. There's me talking about going for De Kuiper, and I could just go for O'Reilly and get similar upside and nailedness for the next few weeks, but we will see. But yeah, Rich, any thoughts? Vice? Who would your vice be this week?
I think what happened in this week with people going against Haaland, as soon as he blanked a couple of times, that's enough to tease people out from behind the sofa, isn't it? And go, oh, I think he's a spent force. He's he's off the boil. I fancy Bruno. I fancy Saka. Fancy Salah. We've had this in the last couple of weeks, and then people have been put firmly back in their place by that performance at Fulham, haven't they? Oh, Fulham's a tough fixture. Blah blah.
Lucky as well, wasn't they? Because he had the post. He had the post twice.
Yeah. Oh, we could have had 3 or 4 goals. I mean, it was incredible. And City were, it was a hell of a game. I don't know if you saw that one, but it was. I watched all of it. It was a great match. And Haaland all the way this week. I think you might want to think about going against him in game week 16 when they're away again. But 15 and 17. Quite a few people with triple captain left. Do you ride the form of the others around him, like Foden and O'Reilly, and play it this week against Sunderland? Or do you hang on to it for game week 17 against West Ham? What would you do if you had a triple captain right now?
I think I'd go for. I think of the 2 fixtures, I much prefer the West Ham fixture. Sunderland's look good midweek. Albeit Liverpool are bad. I can't see City hammering Sunderland, put in like four passes. And personally, I think they'll win. I think they'll win like 2-0 or 2-1 or something, or something like that. But West Ham, as it stands, look dreadful. I suppose the only risk with going Haaland triple captain in 17 is you are starting to approach the period where it's super busy. And
if you've held on to it and then he gets injured in Europe or something,
this is it. But then I suppose you can go on phone or something then. But FPL Amateur has just made a really good point in the chat. He says when he plays West Ham, they lose both wing backs to AFCON. So both Wan-Bissaka and Juve will be gone by the time they play them as well. So you're back to, I don't know, does Creswell still play for him? I have no idea, but they're going to be down to the bare bones in defence, West Ham. So I think I'd wait for West Ham personally. But
Good
yeah,
point. Yeah.
Looking at projected goals and clean sheet odds, courtesy of RobT, Man City top 2.57. That's high, that isn't it? You know, against Sunderland. Newcastle second, really high as well. 2.32 Newcastle's. I haven't really looked at that much, but that is super high. And then Brighton just in behind them to Kuiper. With 2, and then clean sheets, Newcastle and Man City top of the charts, both of them with 46% chance of a clean sheet. Newcastle and Man City are the ones, mate. Are they definitely worth nearly wild card?
I am woefully under resourced in this department, so the wild card.
I'm
gonna have to look at it, mate. Just look at that. If you look at that, that's 5 goals. That is
predicted. Mate, that's exciting.
That's 2 or 3.
Imagine going in with Haaland, because you can't even get to Foden, right? But you can go in with Haaland, Foden, O'Reilly, Voltemada,
Rice, and
Gordon
Chow,
and Burn or Chow or Hall.
It's nice, isn't it? Nice, isn't it? It's as good as the free hit looked last weekend, isn't it?
It looks strong. It looks really good.
There's those supremacy games there. Liverpool, that's probably worth leaving alone, that Liverpool game. But again,
I think Leeds will do it, mate, to be honest.
United have got another cracking fixture on Monday night against Wolves. So it seems to be a pattern here that, United seem to get the very late games, don't they? Because they don't have the European fixtures to worry about. So the schedule is putting them at the end of game weeks quite a lot. And they play Wolves on Monday. So if you've got your Mbuemo for a swan song, he's got another game after game week 15. So they look really good. United as well. So it's going to be
double up on wildcard, mate. You could do a double up on wildcard.
I don't know if I'm going to go for it or not. Game week 16 is going to be the same. It'll still look good. You remember, people are targeting that one for free hit again. It was game week 16 or game week 13. So we'll see all the free hits coming out next week, and it's going to be so swingy these next few weeks.
Exciting stuff.
You'll be laughing if you manage to skate through the next few weeks.
Dan Folcard asks, best defender under 6 million. He's already got VVD, Lacroix, and Anderson.
Under 6 million.
Under 6 million, yeah. So you can't go for an Arsenal defender.
Calafiori.
He's under 6, and how much is Munoz now? I still think Munoz is just
6.
Oh, he's 6, is he? Okay,
yeah.
I fancy Lewis Hall, and there's O'Reilly as well. I think there's a few options there. I really, I do. I think is
now's the time to potentially, you don't need double Arsenal defence. I'm not sure until Gabriel's back. I mean, Arsenal's defence has been pretty decimated, hasn't it? I mean, they've lost 2 central defenders. They've lost Saliba. They've lost Gabriel. I think both central defenders took knocks last night, didn't they? Nkape and Mosquera took knocks. Yeah. So Timber was playing central defence when he came on. A White moved to central defence after one of those central defensive injuries. So they're a bit depleted, Arsenal, now. So not really sure, on wildcard, which ones to go for there. In terms of defenders, Timber looks the safest. Still looks really good, but now he's top price, isn't he? 6.4.
And Ben White, well, he was...
Yeah, what a performance.
On the match last week, wasn't he? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was amazing.
On the match.
Yeah.
We've got your team on screen now, Rich, for game week 15. Do you want to talk us through it and your thoughts?
Yeah, I will probably go for a 3-5-2. I won't have Van de Ven in the starting lineup, but I probably it's automatically selected this for me because of Declan Rice's knock that he got last night. So Declan Rice was my transfer in this week. It was a very late move a couple of days ago, and he didn't do anything. Got a knock towards the end of the game. Came off with a bit of a calf problem, but he has said he's okay. Whether or not I think Arteta will just give him a rest this week, I think is quite likely because it's so soon afterwards. So I think I'll play 3-5-2. I'll drop Van de Ven to the bench, and my transfer at the minute is likely to be Rice to Guimaraes, which is all I can afford. I've got nothing in the bank. and therefore can't get to Foden without a hit. So I'm sort of a little bit cornered, as you would expect. I'm eventually going to run out of rope with this team in terms of being able to do what I want with it. I don't think it's worth hitting Foden in. I could do Van Dijk to O'Reilly and Semenyo to Foden for a -4. Would you do that? Would you do that and then wildcard?
I'd be tempted to wildcard this week. I don't know. I'm obviously play a lot more aggressively than you do, but this is a 39-point game week
for that team.
I think so, and a very average. It'll be the average. You can jump up to like a 55-pointer with a couple of Newcastle players and Foden and whatever else, mate. I don't know. I would. What do you say? Virgil to O'Reilly and Semenyo to Foden. Or Rice to Bruno.
Or Rice to Bruno G for free.
I think for 1 week, because you're wild carding, I don't see the point of taking a hit for 1 week.
No.
Personally, I wouldn't take a hit for 1 week, but I think about the wild card, mate, personally. But I know.
Yeah, I will think about it. I think about it, but then I'll probably go to sleep, and then I think the prices will all change, and I won't do anything, and then I'll just play patiently.
The Kuiper will have gone up to 4.4, and you just won't be
exactly. I won't be able to afford all these players on Saturday morning.
Good stuff.
If you think the markets are volatile now, wait till Saturday. They're going to be unbelievable. So, we'll probably get first set of point. Everyone will go up by 0.3 by the end of the week.
Well, it's going to be mad, isn't it? Mad.
Crazy.
Good stuff, mate.
All right, mate.
My team is, I don't know, it's looking a bit grim this week. I'm really not excited. Well, I say that. I am doing Semenyo out, but I've got either Petrovic at home to Chelsea or Dubravka away to Newcastle. Goodness me, there's not much to choose from there. I'd probably go Petrovic, I think, because I definitely think the Newcastle will score. I've got Virgil away to Leeds.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with flush, isn't it? Virgil away to Leeds.
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
Calvert-Lewin's on fire all of a sudden.
But Van Dijk, the best defender in the world, will just do another twerk and back off and do this thing he does when he just tries to stand in front and gets nowhere. Munoz away to Fulham, Timber away to Villa. I think the Timber will play, though. I do think the Villa will probably score. They're playing really well.
Yeah, Watkins has suddenly hit form as well, hasn't
he? Yeah. I do think that Villa will score. I've got Mbeumo against Wolves, I'm happy with. I've got Saka. I've got Minter against West Ham, which is nice. I'm going to do Semenyo to Foden, definitely. I've got the exact... I did that just before we went live because I realised I had the exact money. So I didn't want to lose out on that one. I've done that. So Semenyo to Foden is done. I've got Enzo. I watched a bit of the Chelsea game last night, and he was kind of played in the 6 because Casado is banned, isn't he? They have got Bournemouth and Everton next. I can do a straight swap from Enzo to Bruno G, the same as you. I don't really not like having Bruno Fernandes, but I can't get to him anyway. I'd rather have Foden, I think. And I have got Mbeumo. And I do think that Wolves actually look a little bit better. They've lost their last 2 games 1-0, but I think they've looked a little bit better than the last few weeks. So we have to go without.
You could do, if you want to go really aggressive, you could go Saka to Bruno Fernandes as your transfer, and then just buy him back with one of your 5 transfers on Saturday morning.
I won't be doing that, mate. There's no way. I'm not doing it. I'm not.
It's free.
No way. I'm doing I'm not doing 2 transfers to. And taking Saka out after he's just been benched is asking for trouble there. Bench is a joke. I've got Rodon at home to Liverpool and Mukiele away to Man City. That's not looking good.
It's not looking good. That.
But do you know what? I'm 0. I think I might be 0.1 short. I think I am.
Of what?
I'm 0.1 short of getting De Kuiper in. I could have done Mukiele to De Kuiper for 4.3.
And then just leave him on your bench.
I'd have probably started him, maybe ahead of Enzo. I don't know. I might have. and
Enzo
gone
might still be on
4-4-2.
penalties, mate. If Palmer's not starting,
Yeah, but he's been on
Enzo's
penalties
still
all
be on
season. Hasn't taken a bloody penalty. It's always being on him. They don't
Well,
get
he had
him.
one in the second week, I think, didn't he? Yeah, they haven't had
Yeah, they
any
did. He had
penalties,
one.
so-
Yeah.
yeah. But
So,
I'd still
yeah.
play. I'd play Enzo ahead of De Kuiper, mate. Honestly, you would. You wouldn't. You'd be wasting that transfer, man. I think a punt on Newcastle. I think a punt on.
I think
on Bruno
Newcastle
G.
it's probably the way I'd go. I could go Enzo straight to Bruno G.
What about Mateta to Voltemada?
I can't take Mateta out.
Yes, you can. I'm thinking of doing it. It
Really?
won't be on my wild card. I'll bin
Wait
him.
to Fulham. Fulham just conceded 5 at home. That's not going to happen again, is it? I don't think I'll take Mateta out. He's still getting chances. I think if anything, I'll either do Enzo to Bruno G or I'll do Virgil to Lewis Hall or Chow maybe. But I'll see. I've done something to Foden, so I just need to give it a little bit of thought. I can't even know if it one short again to Kuiper.
Nice having
that would have been
having
fate.
2 transfers, mate. Then nice that you've got Foden. Foden's going to make that a very difficult watch on the weekend.
Virgil, I think Virgil to O'Reilly is the sensible move. That's what a proper FPL manager would do, but I'm not a proper FPL manager, so I'll have to see. But anyway, good stuff. And that is it from us for this week. Thank you so much to everyone who joined in the chat. Those who are going to watch it back and those on the podcast version, your support is very, very much appreciated. Thank you, Rich. Where can people get hold of you?
At Rich Clarke FPL on X.
And thank you to Scott behind the scenes as well. My handle on Twitter is at @FFH_Fergi. And this podcast and video will be in the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel, with the podcast version is available on all major podcast platforms. If you like what you watched, please press the like button. Remember to subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed your listen, please rate the podcast. Leave us 5 stars and a comment, and we will be back next week. I'm not here next week. I just released to the chaps before we went on live that I'm away next week. So Rich is on Wildcard, and it's 5 free transfers. So Rich is gonna reach out. I wonder if Mr. Hopcroft would be Mr. Hopcroft.
Adam, come back on.
That would be nice,
please.
wouldn't it? We'll see. we will see. But yeah, we will be back next week, looking ahead to game week 16 and 5 AFCON transfers for the first time ever. In the meantime, is it the first time ever? No. Last year we could save up to 5 transfers, couldn't we? It's not the first time ever we would have 5 transfers.
I don't think I ever got to 5. I think I got to 4 once, but no, I don't think I ever got to 5.
But in the meantime, have a fantastic game week 15, and may all your arrows be green. Good night, all.